Are things going the way he didn't expect them to go, or why did he decide to open up the way he opened up today? Welcome back to Havana Media. My name is Boniface Owino, and as usual, I'm going to be your host for today. I really didn't want to talk about these, but I just feel like let me talk about it so that at least other people could also hear, because sometimes it's not good to know something or maybe to hear something somewhere and keep quiet with this, because the aim of this channel is to show you, to tell you things that are happening, and maybe if you, after knowing what is happening, more so in either in politics or in religious areas, you find a way of maybe you dealing with them. And that is why I felt like, no, in as much as I didn't want to talk about these, let me just talk about it so that you can also find a place, or you can also know what to do, where to do it, and how to do it, and when to do it. There is this issue of Pastor HINN. And Pastor HINN is saying that there are some of the mistakes that he did, and I think he was saying these. He was saying these simply because of there are some young preachers who are in ministries, and maybe might be in need of maybe doing this thing, or might be doing this thing. So HINN is opening up and saying some of the two mistakes that he did that he wouldn't want other preachers to do. These are the mistakes HINN is talking about. The first mistake that HINN is talking about is talking about the issue of prophecy, and he's saying that there are some of the prophecies that he was giving people. He gave people a lot of prophecies, and these prophecies somehow put people's lives in harm or in danger, and also it dealt with the reputation. So it tempered with his reputation with the people, because he's saying that the prophecies that he was giving, maybe he thought that God was giving him, but they were not coming from God. In short, he told people what they needed to hear, not what God told him to tell the people. And these are the things that he's trying to apologize to the public. And he's also saying that he wasn't wise quite a number of times while giving these prophecies, because I think at that time he did not know what was happening. Maybe he thought he was doing them to get, sometimes we do things to be famous. But I came to realize something, that with the things of God, you cannot do things, you cannot be famous with the things of God, more so while doing them in a negative way. So that is why HINN is coming out publicly saying that I wasn't wise quite a number of times. With the issue of prophecy, I was giving prophecies, but I was giving wrong prophecies. I was telling people what they needed to hear.
You have been following Christ for decades. As you reflect back on those years, are there any regrets that you have?
Absolutely. I'm a human being. I've made mistakes. I remember Oral telling me he made mistakes by the truckloads. We all make mistakes. The two things I regret most in ministry: I was not too wise a number of times with prophecy. Number one, I had guests come to the crusades that I think brought harm to not only people's lives but also to my reputation, because their prophecies were not really prophecy. They went outside the borders of redemption, because anything that's outside redemption is not prophecy. We know, of course, that prophecy is for edification, exhortation, and comfort, but it must be within redemption. And when people come who go beyond that, we should not allow that. And sadly, I allowed it, and then I stopped But that was years ago when I stopped. And then there were times when I thought God had showed me something that He wasn't showing me, and I spoke it out. But in 1 Corinthians 13, we see very clearly that we all prophesy in part. That means we don't see the full picture. And sadly, and I wish I can go back and fix it, but sadly, there were some prophecies I gave that were not accurate or from the Lord. But who's perfect? And for that, of course, I ask people to forgive me. I'm just human.
And the second mistake that Ben Hinn is saying that he did while preaching is this issue of prosperity. And I think now this is now where most of the preachers or most of the pastors now get out of the way, or maybe this is where most of the pastors or most of the preachers mess up. Because you find that, okay, according to Ben Hinn is saying that when he was starting the ministry, things were moving on very well. When he started the ministry, things were moving on very well. But now, as the time went by, now the ministry started growing. There is something that he involved himself into, which is regretting up to now on how we can get out of it. But it is very difficult for him to get out of it, because he was preaching about prosperity, but being that he's also a pastor, he also wanted to prosper so that people can see what he's preaching in him. You know, because you cannot tell people to have cars yet you don't have a car. So I think that is one of the things that one of the major things that he's trying to say that in as much as I was preaching with prosperity, I also involved myself in something that up to now I regret why I involved myself into.
And then the other one is prosperity. And that's been a very difficult one for me. When I started in ministry, it was simple. And then the ministry grew. I was invited to go to what they called praise-a-thons. And I think that's when my troubles began. I don't blame anyone. But sadly, you get kind of in a place that becomes difficult. You don't know what to do and how to get out of it. So I came to the conclusion in 2019 that I did not want to be a part of the gimmickry of it. And I still stand by that. But sadly, I let pressure get to me. And because of that pressure, I said things and did things I should not have done. And for that, really, I am sorry. And I ask the dear people watching us to really forgive me for that. And I'm striving with all my heart to be as biblical as possible with that. And frankly, you know, I'm kind of at the end of my road anyways. I don't see myself needing to do a whole lot of that down the road. But right now, my focus is the Lord, and only the Lord. And if, of course, there will be the time when I may have to raise funds for our ministry, I will do it as biblically as I know how, and balanced.
Can you explain that a little more?
I want that teaching to be about Jesus, and only Jesus and the gospel, because the heart of prosperity has to be the gospel, true biblical prosperity. And that is what I will do and strive to do for the rest of my life. That's it.
You know, I came to realize something, that when a pastor starts a ministry, I'm not fighting any pastor, but I'm just trying to bring it so that at least we can know where we are, or we can know what we're supposed to do in any place. They are real pastors. Let us not lie. There are those real pastors who preach according to the doctrine, and even if they preach about prosperity, they tell you what prosperity is and how to. There are pastors, I know pastors who even if you start to study them, you are with them there. You are with them You are with them when they are growing. When you witness true gospel. You witness true Christ in them, because you find that you're with this pastor when he's growing, when he started the ministry, the way he was struggling, and even if he's growing, you see that this growth is coming through prayers. Because you are with him when he is praying, when things are working, you see the way things are working with him. So when he's growing, you see that the steps of growth. And the growth is not only in him, but also with his church members. It's not like the pastor is the one growing, but the church members are not growing. The growth is like the growth is visible even to the church members. The growth is visible even with the church members. It does not preach about prosperity. It preaches about the real thing. I'm saying this, that I'm not defending any pastor, but I'm just trying to say that they are real men of God. Men who don't preach only about prosperity and involve themselves in things that can interfere with Christ, or maybe can interfere with what they are preaching. And what they get their thing. They get the things from the altar, from prayers, from sacrifice that they're giving, or from Gani. I don't know how to put it. But now Ben HINN is talking about something here. But Ben HINN is saying that when he was a young preacher, he preached about prosperity, but being that he also wanted to prosper, because his aim was not only to preach, but also at least to prosper. There are some of the things that he involved himself into. He entered into a place that up to now is regretting, because it is very difficult for him to get out of it. Realizing the mistake that he has done, is now coming, he wants to preach more of biblical prosperity. In short, he's trying to say that, he's saying that what I want to preach now is that I want to preach the prosperity biblically, because right now I know the mistakes that I did, I know what I've done, and I know how to do about it. And he ends up by saying that I'm at the verge of my end. It's like he also knows that he's about to die. So when he's about to die, they have decided to put things right with Christ. He's saying that I've decided to put things right with the public, and he goes ahead and apologizes to the people that are watching. He's apologizing to the public. You know, when you see someone coming out publicly to apologize, it means that thing has been eating him up every now and then. And I also remember when Ben HINN was in Kenya, when he was in Kenya. Ben HINN said that he's about to die. Something that took people with surprise, that he is about to die. And he's also saying here, during an apology, during his public interview, he's saying that he's about to die. He's approaching the end, the verge of his end, but he just wants to put things right with the people, that what he has been preaching was not the true doctrine. Is when he wants to preach the true doctrine, he has been preaching about prosperity. He has been prophesying to the people, but the prophecy were not coming from God. In my opinion, I think what Ben HINN is trying to say, or what Ben HINN is trying to do, of course we know that he's a very respected man, he's a very respected preacher, he's been preaching for a very long time, and we even saw the way Nyayo Stadium was full when he came to Kenya. So what Ben HINN is trying to say or to do is this. He's trying to show young preachers or young pastors who preaches about prosperity or who majors into prophecy, that not all prophecies come from God. And whenever you see a pastor or whenever you see someone prophesying to you, you should be able to discern the kind of spirit that is in this man. When you see someone preaching about prosperity, prosperity is good. I think that is what he's trying to say, that prosperity is good. But before preaching about prosperity, or while preaching about prosperity, is it in line with the doctrine? Of course, I've told you that there are some preachers in Kenya. I know some preachers in Kenya who are preaching well, who God is using them, and when God is elevating them, there are also people, his members, who God is elevating. So when he's taken to another level, God is taking the members are also taken to other level. And you cannot say that there are some specific members. All members are taken to other level. So my biggest question is this: the people that do not trust, it comes to a point that when someone is being followed, and people believed in him or her, and then all of a sudden you come to realize that the thing that this person was doing were not right. The people who are intending to maybe to start following him, how would they feel, or what would they do? What would they do in order to be in line, or in order to maintain that stand that we have to follow this? Because this person himself is saying that what I've been doing has not been right. What I've been doing is not the right way. The path that I've been following is not the right path. So please don't follow me. I don't know you. I don't know what you think. I just felt like let me put this video so that I can also listen to your comment at the comment section, so that I can also know what you think. Because as it stands right now, it is very difficult to know. It is easy and also difficult to discern or to know the true gospel and the false gospel. And this thing, I think, is making is even making people to fear maybe going to churches, is making people to even fear pastors, because they feel like they think that every pastor that is preaching is doing deliverance, every pastor that is prophesying is not prophesying well. I don't know what to think, and that is why I want to give you a chance in the comment section, so that you can also tell me what you think concerning the words of Ben Hinn. Ben Hinn is saying very well that he regrets the mistakes that he did during his ministry. And just a reminder, if it is the first time that we're meeting, please don't forget to subscribe, like and share and you can also share. But the main thing is, don't forget to comment, don't forget to tell me where you're watching us from. And until we meet again, I've been your host, Boniface Winner. Bye bye.